Good evening. It is August 4th, 2021, Wednesday evening, and I see sun is shining now, and it's been raining off and on, so it's been a wet year. I do want to say hello to anyone that joins us. I also want to encourage you, if you have some names to add to the prayer list or some updates, please text them. Send us there on the bottom of the Facebook page in the comments. And so we'll add those names. And really there's no names new to add except there is a young lady named Kim, and then some others that are in hospitals, Kelly, and then another family with COVID, so I'll mention those again later on. I mentioned last week, if you joined in, that there's been a lot of guys from the prison unit that are being moved. As I understand it, there's some major repairs. Someone says it's major enough you can't really call it maintenance. It's more like construction, but they're having to clear some housing areas out. So they're moving a lot of people around, including moving many of those who have been very involved with the ministry there in the chapel area. At least 3 guys that were involved in helping to lead worship, as well as the clerks and SSIs, and then some others that were were dedicated, or whatever the right word is, but a lot of guys have moved, so it's kind of tough on everybody to find out they're leaving, and then it seems like every time we go in as volunteers, there's some other 1 or 2 at least that we know and look forward to seeing every time we go, that have either just moved or just heard they're moving. So those guys involved in the ministry there at the prison really need your prayers right now. Those field ministers are Jason, Jesse, Rocky, and Lawrence. We call him LBJ, but those guys need your prayers, and also Chaplain Miller needs your prayers, as he's the chaplain there, and they've got in working with those field ministers, they've got to kind of rebuild their, what's the right word I'm looking for? I guess I'm going to say staff. So anyway, just be in prayer for them. So tonight we're going to be continuing in Matthew chapter 10. We'll start in verse 26, verse 26 through 31. And I don't know if you remember this. I still see it occasionally, but a few years ago there was a pretty big another phrase that swept the country. You know what it's like, some word or phrase gets really, sometimes it's an advertising slogan, and sometimes it's not, but it sweeps the country, like just do it. Nike, real big on that. Then there was got milk, and then for a while there was a lot of stuff about a lot of emphasis on WWJD, what would Jesus do? And then I guess somebody else was trying to look for a lot of these things get marketed, and they, become T-shirts and bumper stickers that people have to display. And I guess somebody else was trying to come up with something that would um, maybe earn them some money among the Christian folks. It was frog, fully rely on God. Nothing wrong with those phrases. But another phrase that was pretty popular for a while, and again, I still see it occasionally, no fear. I tried to figure out where it came from. I tried to do some research to see if it was an advertising logo for some company or not. Couldn't find it. I do know occasionally I still see no fear. There'll be um, a basketball team, an AAU team or select team, whatever they call it, that goes by no fear or no fear elite or something like that. And but again, I don't know where it came from. And one of the things that is something's really caught on when people make fun of it. I'd seen a T-shirt that said, "No fear, my foot. I'm scared to death." So that's kind of the no fear idea was successful because somebody was making fun of it. Anyway, and sometimes I think we find ourselves in the middle of a situation that we're kind of torn about. Should I be thinking no fear, or should I be scared to death? And I'm going to have to go get some water. I'll be right back. Please excuse me. It's not like I didn't know I might need water. It's just that I didn't quite bring it with me. So I apologize. Um, the idea is that sometimes we're not sure exactly how we should feel about something. Should I have no fear, or should I be a little concerned? Um, so, what's the right attitude? Which of these should be our prevailing attitude? And sometimes I just like to do that. The answer is yes, meaning there are things we ought to fear, but there are most things, that we should not have fear. Um, so here again, Matthew chapter 10, beginning in verse 26. Therefore, don't be afraid of them, since there is nothing covered that won't be uncovered, and nothing hidden that won't be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the light. What you hear in a whisper, proclaim on the housetops. Don't fear those who kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Rather, fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Aren't two sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your Father's consent. But even the hairs of your head have all been counted. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. This is related to the passage where he is sending out the 12. So this is some more of the advice, I guess, for the 12 as they're going. But he says, don't fear those who, don't be afraid of them. There's nothing covered that won't be. So one of the things is that they're probably going to be dealing with some persecution and so forth. So it'd be easy for them to lose heart, to give up, stop the mission before they really get started. So it encourages them with two things. One is the urgency of their mission, their message, and he's talking about the coming judgment. Don't be afraid of them, since there's nothing covered that won't be uncovered and nothing hidden that won't be made known. The sins that are well hidden will all be revealed. God knows all already. And because of that coming judgment, the things that people think they've concealed and that no one knows will be made public. And certainly God will judge accordingly to those things. But also, because of that coming judgment, there is the importance of that message. The things that Jesus has been teaching the disciples, now they need to make known. Proclaim it. They must proclaim things. And the idea of getting on the roof and preaching may or may not be literal for them. Certainly in our day, it's not exactly normal. But in the day of Jesus and his disciples, that was a possibility. These low, flat roofs would make good places to stand and address a group of people. But the main thing is the point that the message needs to go out. They spread the news. Whether we want to apply it literally or not, it is not the main thing. I'm not planning anytime soon to get on a ladder and climb up on top of this building. But at the same time, I am planning to get the message out, to proclaim the news of Jesus as much as I can. And then he says, after reminding them of the importance of their message, he says, so don't fear those who can hurt the body. We might say, have no fear when facing men. Sure. Uh-oh. Let me see something here.